if you decide you want a hard copy of your Excel workbook, you'll want to know some of the options available when it comes to printing. That's what we're going to explore in this movie with our Leaf and Mortar Projected Revenues Workbook, LM Revenues 03. First, we'll go up to File and then down to Print. Select that, and you'll see some print options and a preview of what's about to be printed using the default set of options that are currently selected. You can see actually there are 2 pages. We can scroll down to see page 2, or we can use the navigation arrows down here to go from page 1 to 2. This might make more sense if it were in landscape mode and maybe squeezed down to fit on a single page. So over here on the left where we see the big print button, we're not ready to print quite yet. Down below is where you select your printer, and your options may vary from mine depending on the printer and type of printer you're working with. Down below you can see under settings we can choose active sheets, so only the sheets that we're currently working on, the entire workbook, which could have multiple sheets, or a selection. If we'd gone ahead and selected an area, we could actually print just that selection. We didn't. So we're going to leave it at active sheet, the sheet we were on, our one and only sheet in our current workbook. You can see printing one-sided is an option, collated. Here's where we choose the orientation, currently set to portrait. Let's go down here and switch it to landscape orientation. Now our preview looks a little bit better. Still 2 pages and not quite fitting. So if we hit the arrow, you can see just November and December and our totals are not quite fitting on our first page. But as we scroll down a little bit further, we could change the paper size. For example, if we went to legal 8.5 by 14, I bet it would fit. And sure enough, it does. But if that's not an option, let's go back to our paper size and switch back to 8.5 by 11, still in portrait mode. Another way to make more room could be to change the margins, currently set to 0.7 on the left and right. Clicking this gives you access to some narrow options like 0.25 on the left and right, and custom margins if you want to set your own. I'm going to go to narrow, and still I'm missing December and the totals. That's where scaling comes in. Down below you can see with no scaling, we see it in actual size. Click the drop down. Here we have some fitting options. Fit sheet on one page. All columns on one page. If it goes on and on with the number of rows, which ours doesn't, then you'd at least be able to see all of the columns and have multiple pages for the extra rows. The opposite can be done as well, fitting all rows on a page as opposed to the columns. Let's fit this sheet all on one page. By clicking it, it's going to be scaled down ever so slightly to fit within our currently selected margins. That looks good. When you're ready, you click the print button to send it off to your printer with the number of copies you need. Hit the back button when you're done to return to your workbook. So, when you do need a hard copy of your workbook, remember there are a number of print options to help you make it fit properly on the type of paper and page you're working with.